Hey everybody, how you doing? Great Monday night. It is 10:23 in the East. If you're a regular viewer on my channel, you've followed me for years, you know that my favorite airline to fly is United Airlines. It's taken me everywhere from even before I started doing YouTube. It took me to Hawaii and it took me to, wow, it took me to a number of places. And uh, most notably, because I've flown it since I was 6 years old, it has had a profound impact on, well, how I think about the world. But I've had the pleasure of flying United during what some would call the Pa Americana. And that is when we had money as a country, and we were truly the number one economy in the world. And what happened in the United States dictated culturally what happened in the rest of the world. That American power was marked by, well, space. We had fewer people, same country size, a lot of ways to get around, and we had big cars and also large airplanes paced by the 747, which was introduced in 1968. I remember that day. Remember that year. Well, and today, 747s have been retired. They are all but out of service except for air cargo. And now we have two occurrences that have been foisted upon us as a world industrial population because of something called the coronavirus pandemic. Shelter in place, where you don't leave your home because you might catch the virus from someone in some kind of strange way. And then we have social distancing for the same reasons. Both have conspired to all but kill our economy. And that's also true for air travel. Well, this occurrence got United Airlines, my favorite airline, in trouble. This, as noted on Forbes, this was a flight that was, as you can tell, not too long ago, and the Forbes airline is basically so much for United Airlines' pledge to block the middle seat. The idea is to create more space, right? So what you get is a crowded, and what this looks like is a 737-900. I've flown on them tons of times. In fact, where that flight attendant is standing is just about a row before the exit row where I have been king of for so many years. I love the exit row in a post first class world. I'll explain what that means another time. Anyway, the man Ethan Weiss tweeted, "This is the last time I'll be flying for a very long time, going from Newark to San Francisco." He said, "People on this plane are scared/shocked." And Dr. Weiss, an associate professor at the University of California at San Francisco, remember Dan Rasher was on our show 2 weeks ago, is in their Cardiovascular Research Institute, had just spent 2 weeks volunteering at New York Presbyterian Hospital during the COVID-19 crisis, and said, "I am with a group of 25 nurses and doctors who've been working in New York City hospitals for the past 2 to 4 weeks. We are coming home." He tweeted. If you're interested in learning what Weiss' experience is like, his journal entries are his Twitter feed. Here's day one. Okay. And he says, since early April, United Airlines has been providing free round-trip flights to New York City for medical volunteers who wanted to help fight against the COVID-19 crisis. Yesterday, Weiss tweeted the selfie that I just showed you that showed his jam-packed plane with every seat in the 737-900 aircraft filled. This one, okay? So rather than criticize my favorite airline, this photograph gave me an idea. And the idea, basically, it goes something like this. I was thinking, I first thought, what's the capacity of a standard Boeing 747? How much is how many people does a Boeing 747 fit? And the answer was approximately 463 people, or 424, depending on which model that you are which model of Boeing 747 you are looking at. Okay, but at any rate, what we're talking about is this. This is it. This is the interior, as you can see, the 747. Let's take a look at that. Right, different configurations. I've sat in them, all of them, not each and every seat, of course, but first class, coach. I've been around this plane. It's quite luxurious. Imagine if we were able to just sell some of those seats, like 50%, right? What a great opportunity to do social distancing. All right. What a fantastic opportunity to do social distancing, don't you think? I mean, wouldn't that really solve the problem? Right? I mean, look at these. Look at these. Okay. Don't you know solve the problem? Of course. There's just one catch. All right. And the catch is cost. And so you would say, well, geez, Zenny, it sounds like a great idea, but the airplane that's retired, who's going to pay to bring them back? Well, the same people that paid through something called the CARES Act, the federal government. And so here's my thought. I actually worked out, or I tried to work out the details so that people could understand the possible, how this might possibly look, right? In spreadsheet form, I created this right here. This is the spreadsheet, which I'll bring in full form right here. And then I will zoom in so that you can have an even better idea of what I'm talking about. And I will, not only that, I'll even talk you through it. How's that? Okay. Let's see if we can zoom in. And it won't let us really zoom in, will it? So what I'm going to have to do, I said view, full screen. Let's do it that way. Is that possible? Oh, it won't even give me what I want. Okay. But if I perhaps zoom in and then continue to zoom in and then continue to zoom in and then continue to zoom in, then guess what? It looks like we're making some progress, aren't we? Yes. So let's continue to zoom in some more. And let's stop it right about there. I think you get the idea, okay? So what we're looking at is a rough estimate of what it would cost to reintroduce 747s and A380s into United States airspace. Cost to repurchase the planes, according to a number of sources, approximately $20 million, the high end. Cost per plane per hour to operate, this is the high end. This represents really the A380. The 747 is a little less, but the whole purpose of this program is to take advantage of these great capabilities of these wide bodies. And I remind you that fuel costs have really went down since the coronavirus, right? So what we're looking at is $30,000 cost per plane per hour. Flights per day per plane, 1.5. So that takes into account that you would have a plane that flew for 4 hours, then it had to be maintained and prepped for the next flight. So maybe you get 2 flights out of it, maybe not. Maybe you have 2 flights one day, no flights the next day. Whatever, let's say let's say it's 1.5 flights per day per plane, something like that, okay? Maybe less. But that's the high end. 300 days active per year per plane. I mean, planes get a vacation, right? But the whole point is you're not going to be using the plane every single day of the year. 5 hours average per flight. That takes into account the possibility that you may be going from the continental United States to Hawaii or to Alaska and back. We're not going to subsidize international flights. We're not going to subsidize the use of planes that would be operated primarily by international carriers. We're not going to do that. if that carrier has a strategic alliance with an American airline, such that you're bringing in passengers on a flight that serves the United States, okay. But the idea is to revive air travel and the industry in the United States. That's the idea. If other nations want to chip in, then they can do so and provide this kind of, assembled puzzle of the program, right? So then we have average number of planes per airline. I pegged it at 16. Delta had 32. United had 16. Some other airlines had fewer, but I pegged it for this program at 16. There are 18 airlines operating in the United States as I speak. So that brings us to a formula. A per airline cost to the federal government per year, which would be $1.4 billion, $1.4 billion subsidy for the year for each airline, a block that they could, apply for. The total airline cost to the federal government for the year will be $25.2 billion. That's right, $25.2 billion. And so that's the idea, folks. That's my idea to bring back the United States airline industry through this targeted subsidy that allows the use of wide bodies. Not only that, the airlines would have to sell these seats at 50%, 60% capacity, and that's it. Now, why would I hedge and say 60? Because if you've ever been the first class, you know that each person has their own kind of shield, right? If you've never seen it, let me show it to you real quick so you can see what it looks like. But in fact, I think I'll show you by way of using one of my vlogs as an example for first class Boeing 747, and then it's NE62. I have a number of examples of what it's like to fly first class in a 747. I'm trying to get one more recently than 9 years ago, but if I type first class, perhaps Boeing 747 first class, there. It has been some years since I've flown first class, but here it is from 4 years ago, and this gives you an idea. I will play this so you have an idea of what upstairs looks like, right? And let me take that from the screen and then show you what first class looks like on a 747 upstairs. And it is right here. There. Okay. That's it. Now I'm going to give you the whole screen, and I'm going to play it for you so you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about. You can see it right there. You see how each seat, take a look.
Up here, this is beautiful. United Airlines has redesigned it really well from the picture that I was sitting marking about 2 years ago. Thank you very much. And not only that, I want that seat. And you know what I'm talking about, Chris? I want that seat. Okay? Before I die, that seat is mine. I'm also going on the White House Air Force One because I'm on the White House press list. So you guys are united. You know what I'm talking about. Love you. Thanks. So this is the first time.
So my point is that you can see what that looks like, right? And that's upstairs. Upstairs. If you want an idea what it looks like downstairs, this was one of my seats downstairs. This was 9 years ago.
Hi everyone, I'm on the 747 on the way back to San Francisco, and on a 747 for a change. Always on Tuesdays on United, they have 747s. And that's first class, and this is the business class over there. Callie over here. There, say hi. Hi. And she's the best flight attendant in the sky, right? Right, yeah. And basically, just want to say that I like the changes that United's making, except the shield. United should have kept the shield. But United's merged with Continental. They've got more airplanes, more flights, better service. our service wasn't bad, but it's a lot of fun, and United's making some great.
But anyway, as I was saying, you get the idea. Back then, the first class seats were closer together, but now you can have seats, even in a 777, where that they're shielded. You're shielded in the nice little area on your own, and you're already social distanced, if you will. Okay, and you don't have to worry, or you don't have to concern yourself with being next to somebody. I mean, here's another example of what I'm talking about.
Hey everyone, I'm on United going from LA to Chicago, eventually to Atlanta. In the past, we used to run 747s. Now we've retired the 747s. The 777 is the new workhorse, and I'm in 777 United Airlines first class. Take a look. Kind of reminds me of HAL 9000. How you doing, Hal? Very futuristic. This is the rest of it.
I want to show you something. I want to show you something right there, folks. I'm going to bring that back, and I want you to see this. I'm going to freeze that. Okay, you see that sea of dividers? It's almost like some sort of office, right? With a sea of different types of cubicles, right? That's what it looks like. Well, think about it from a standpoint of social distancing. You're already locked in to your area. If you have a mask on, you have double protection. And there's a sliver of a space for you to slide in and out. You are really shielded from the other person. You don't have to worry about anything. Sneezes, bad breath, nothing. This is already the way it is on a 777. Bring back the 747s, have the same configuration. You don't have to worry about first class. You can do the same thing upstairs. Back in the business class, economy plus, economy as United has them divided. Then you can adopt the every other seat rule, right? And you're good to go. The airline is compensated for the flight costs, even for long ranges. People can fly again without spending a lot of money, because the airline should not be engaged or desired to gouge anyone, because their costs that they would normally have to pay for are subsidized by the government, and we're good to go. This may very well mark the revival of the era where we subsidized flights to keep the economy running, because it's very important to the economy. So if you're watching this, please use social media or email, or perhaps you're connected with United Airlines. Bring this to the president. Bring this to Congress. Have your senators and congressmen advocate for this. It will serve to solve a great many problems in one fell swoop. You know, the whole problem we've had with spacing on flights, with overcrowding on flights. This is the perfect way to right that ship, to right that wrong, if you will, and get us back on footing, on economic footing, on a tourism economic footing, faster than we have been able to before. All right, I'm done with this. Subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube and bookmark oaklandnewsnow.com. Hey, thanks a lot, everybody. See ya.